Bismillahi walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Welcome to the show to one and all. This is your host Yunus Kawanga on the show called To Guidance, that show that speaks about everything and anything that has to do with da'wah. And today is another beautiful Thursday evening coming to you live from the Salam Media Studios in Johannesburg. It has been a very quite hot day, and it has said to be actually one of the hottest day because of the heat wave that has been hitting us, about 32 degrees Celsius here in Johannesburg and about 36 degrees Celsius in Pretoria. Subhanallah. However, we carry on with the program, and Alhamdulillah, tonight we have a good program at hand where we discuss about a good institute which brings together the study of dawah and other studies that we find in the Islamic studies together, inshallah, a combination of those two, inshallah ta'ala. And all this we'll speak to, inshallah, Sheikh Muhammad Kalla, who was born and raised in Polokwane, South Africa. He then memorizes Quran under Maulana Muhammad Ilyas Patel, and he completed his school in 2007 and was accepted in the Islamic University of Madinah in the period of 2010-2011. Then he completed a diploma in Arabic as well as a BA in Islamic Law from the Faculty of Shariah. Then Ustad actually has, subhanallah, also studied privately under numerous scholars in Medina, as well as attaining an ijaza, which is actually what you can say the allowance to from the haram in the narration of Hafs and Asim. This is in the qira'ah field. Then after that, after graduating, and then he returned to Polokwane, where he runs Islam Without Borders, an online platform for learning the Islamic sciences and Arabic. So we'll be going more into the details regarding Islam Without Borders. But actually, for some people around us, I believe that there's many youngsters who are doing the matrics, trying to find ways of how they can actually get into the University of Medina. So inshallah, we'll get more details from our Sheikh Muhammad Kalla, inshallah, as we speak, inshallah ta'ala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Ustad. I hope you are doing well.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله. I'm well and I'm good. Walillah alhamdu. How are you, my brother?
Shukran, alhamdulillah, jazakumullah khaira for being with us. It is an honor actually for us to be in such an esteemed, I can say, presence and to learn more, inshallah ta'ala, on the field of dawah and also in other fields that people actually, inshallah, can try and tap into, especially online learning platforms, which are very, I believe this is a day and age where we need such platforms, especially for youngsters, the Muslim brothers and the younger Muslim sisters, where they can study deen without any sense of distraction and any other things which are external, you can call it forces which are trying to lead them astray. Anyhow, so inshallah, before we get into much of Islam Without Borders, rather I would like to know more about uh, inshallah, the studying environment of the Islamic University of Medina for many youngsters who want to go out there and further their studies, inshallah, and also looking at certain qualifications which are prevalent nowadays, which people need to go tap into. Also facing this whole issue of the fourth industrial revolution. So this is like some type of career guidance corner, inshallah, at the moment, inshallah ta'ala. If you start can take us through that, inshallah, and how did you start, starting with how did you start become interested in studying Islam, inshallah?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد. Alhamdulillah, like Maulana has mentioned, I grew up in Polokwane and I memorized the Quran there under Maulana Muhammad Ilyas, may Allah have mercy on him. And initially, I was interested in Islam due to my father's activities in the field of da'wah and having various links with certain organizations, charity organizations. So that developed in my initial stages a certain type of inclination towards Islam and work that benefited the Muslims, as well as my father's modest library that he had of Islamic literature in the English language, which I would peruse from time to time as a young man. So all of these factors caused a certain interest in me for Islam and learning more. And as well as the environment we had in South Africa in the early 2000s with the radio. People used to listen to various Islamic speakers over the radio or what was available in terms of CD and DVD. And I was influenced by the late Ahmad Didat, may Allah have mercy on him, watched some of his DVDs as a young man. And I got interested in that type of comparative religion. And thereafter, I read some of his books as well and got interested more. And later on by others, like Mufti Ismail Menk, for example, when he became popular in South Africa through the Taraweeh prayers that he would conduct, as well as the lectures he would give after that. And all of these things culminated in causing me to be inclined to this pathway and to having this sort of inquisitive nature to know more and to learn more and being attracted to it. So that's what attracted me. And after that, as a young man, I met Mufti Ismail Menk when he came to Polokwane, to my city. I inquired about studying and what he did. And Alhamdulillah, he humored me and he gave me information and he explained to me what it was. And that's where my certain inclination to study in Medina began. However, before going to Medina, I did research other places. So I looked at Egypt and I visited Egypt. And I was inclined to study in Egypt. I wanted to study abroad, as well as speaking to students or those who had studied in other places in the world, some in the Indo-Pak, some in Mauritania and West Africa, some in Yemen. So I made an effort to learn. But like we all know, a Muslim's heart yearns for Medina. And that's where I was inclining towards. And I put in an application, walillah alhamd, and I got accepted to study there in the academic year 2010-2011 at that time. And that's where my studies took me to Al-Madinah Al-Munawwara. And I began my Islamic studies there formally.
MashaAllah. Now, in terms of other fields and faculties that are provided at the Islamic University of Medina, what
There's an unclear line. I can't hear you.
Is it clear now?
No, not yet.
Okay,
it's not breaking up, but the line is.
Yeah, I think we just need to quickly operate on that, inshallah ta'ala. Can you start hear me now, or is it still not clear?
I can hear you, but there's with your mic, there's a vibration that's causing the sound to be deformed, so I can't hear exactly what you're saying.
Okay, let me just see if we can fix that quickly, and we'll get back to that, inshallah ta'ala.
Okay.
All right. Because actually there's 1 minute, so rather I'll just take this and summarize the show for those who are listening out there, inshallah ta'ala. We're speaking about Islam Without Borders with the Sheikh Muhammad Kalla, and we were just explaining to us in terms of how he got into the Islamic University of Medina, inshallah. So we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, hopefully our technical issues will be resolved. Then we'll carry on with speaking more about the dawah interest and Islam Without Borders, inshallah. Do stay tuned, inshallah.
It's a new beginning. It's a new era. Salam Media, humanitarian journalism.
SANZAF's Meals Distribution Project aims to create food security for those in need. By supporting our program, you can help us in our mission to provide access to nutritious meals on a daily basis and help us extend our reach. Join SANZAF in the fight against hunger by contributing to our food security initiatives. To learn more, visit sanzaf.org.za or call 011 834 6046. SANZAF, changing lives through development and relief.
For a long time, we've lived in a centralized world where institutions held the all-important data and confirmed all transactions. Those times are over. Welcome to Libertas Group, a blockchain development company boasting an ecosystem that continually redefines the way we do business. Our blockchain is decentralized, making it immune to hacking or alteration, putting the power back in your hands with no middleman so you can focus on the growth of your business. Libertas, the simplest investment choice you'll make.
Conveniently located along the banks of the Crocodile River bordering the Kruger National Park, as a guest at Buckler's Africa Lodge, one can enjoy an amazing sunrise or sunset on our spacious deck area while you catch a glimpse of some wildlife sightings along the Crocodile River. The sounds of the African savannah will greet you whilst you enjoy your morning coffee. Buckler's Africa Lodge by Tingana Collection. Buckler's Africa Lodge is ideally situated only 6 kilometers from the Crocodile Bridge Gate in the Kruger National Park. Catering for all travelers with variety, we have 4 types of the finest rooms: superior rooms, deluxe suites, and 2-bedroomed family units. Each room is equipped with the finest amenities to make your stay unforgettable. Guests can choose between the self-catering option or book their accommodation with breakfast and dinner included. Buckler's Africa Lodge is your ideal location for the ultimate Kruger getaway experience. We specialize in exhilarating and educational game drives in Kruger, tailor-made to suit your family. Inquire about our various accommodation offerings and other activities. Visit www.tingana.co.za for more information. Buckler's Africa Lodge by Tingana Collection. Experience the pulse of Africa with us. At Sentio, our Invest for Good philosophy is based on a genuine desire to use our investment skills for the benefit of broader society by investing responsibly, giving charitably, and developing talent that will transform the investment industry. Visit www.sentio-capital.com for more information about our Shariah investment products and start saving with us today. Sentio Capital. Invest for good. Sentio Capital Management is an authorized financial services provider.
Breaking stereotypes, moving boundaries, joining hands. Salam Media. Humanity sets the agenda.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Welcome back. And if you're just joining us, you missed a bit, quite much informative point in terms of getting to study in the Islamic University of Madinah. And with me tonight is Sheikh Muhammad Kalla, all the way from Polokwane. And we're speaking about the studies and also eventually going into the online platform that he runs, which is called Islam Without Borders, inshallah. Ustad, Jazakumullah khairah. Once again, before we went on break, you were just telling us your interests, which was sparked into studying and enrolling with the Islamic University of Madinah. Now, before we went on break, my question was in terms of other qualifications or courses that are offered at the university. If Ustad can just give us a few pointers on those, inshallah.
Okay, so once a student enters the Islamic University of Madinah, there's 2 ways a student can go, and now currently they've introduced a 3rd way. So the first initial step is that if the student is familiar with the Arabic language, either being a native speaker who speaks the Arabic language as his mother tongue, or a non-native speaker who is fluent in the language, a student can directly enter one of the faculties of the university. And the faculties are 5: the faculty of Kulliyat al-Lugha al-Arabiya, the faculty of the Arabic language, Kulliyat al-Quran al-Karimi wa ulumihi, the faculty of the Noble Quran and its sciences, Kulliyat al-Hadith wa ulumi, the faculty of Hadith and its sciences, Kulliyat al-Shariah, the faculty of Sharia, which is law, which concentrates on fiqh and usul al-fiqh, and Kulliyat al-Da'wa wa usul al-Din, the faculty of Da'wa, propagation, and the usul al-Din, the fundamentals of religion. So these 5 faculties are what are at your disposal. If you are not familiar with the Arabic language, non-native speaker of the language, and you need to learn the language, you will be placed into a department known as the Department for Teaching Arabic to Non-Native Speakers, what is called معهد لتعليم اللغة العربية لغير الناطقين بها. And there you will spend 2 years where you will be schooled in the Arabic language, taught the Arabic language through a skill-based approach until you are fluent enough to enter one of the faculties of the university and study with native speakers a degree in the Arabic language. And a student should attain aggregate of 85% in those 2 years to enter a faculty to study one of the or to study in one of the branches of the university. So that's what occurs initially. And like most students from South Africa, most of us are not familiar with the Arabic language. So you would find that almost all or most students would enter the Department for Arabic for non-native speakers, as I did as well.
Subhanallah, mashallah. So that's like the 2 years are your pre-degree type of a phase. Then after that, how long is the degree itself? How many years do you study the degree after the 2 years?
Okay, so the 2-year process is not only the Arabic language, it's the Arabic language as a main source that a person needs to study. However, there are further subjects to prepare a student for what they will encounter in university. So you will do fiqh, you will do aqidah, you will do seerah, you will do tafsir. However, at a level which is much more basic than what you might encounter at a university level when studying classical texts. But it prepares you. So the main focus is the Arabic language, where you learn the language. However, you also familiarize yourself with different sciences within the language, meaning in Arabic, you study these sciences to familiarize yourself firstly with the science, and secondly with the nomenclature that's associated to that science. And thereafter, you join a faculty. Some students do 1 year of what they call Thanawiyah, where they enter high school and they do the last year of high school before entering into a faculty. Now, the faculty, the process is that you study for 4 years in a faculty, and that's your basic bachelor degree, a 4-year degree. And depending on what faculty you're in, you will have a different speciality that will be concentrated upon. So, for example, the faculty that I chose was the faculty of Shariah. So our speciality or concentration was on fiqh and usul al-fiqh. However, with that speciality, there are semesters, 4 semesters, for example, where Arabic grammar is done, as 2 semesters where Arabic morphology is done. There is Aqidah done over 4 semesters. However, for the entirety of 8 semesters, you will do fiqh and usul al-fiqh. The other semesters you may do for 3 or 4 semesters at a time, and those will be your subjects that you are familiarized with, but your speciality would be in fiqh and usul al-fiqh. And the same can be said about any other faculty. If you choose Quran, for example, you will concentrate on qira'at and its different sides as the sciences of Quran. You will concentrate on tafsir, you will concentrate on usul al-tafsir, you will concentrate on rasm al-mushaf. But you will have aqidah, you will have fiqh, you will have usul al-fiqh, you will have lugha al-arabiya, you will have sarf, you will have nahu, you will have all of these sciences, you will have rhetoric, balagha. All of these sciences will be available that you study them in modules. However, not for the entirety of your 8 years, of your 8 semesters, your 4 years. Your entirety would be, for example, qira'at and its sciences, tafsir, for example, and usul al-tafsir you study over the period of 4 years. That would be your concentration. And like this, all of the faculties work. However, a student may supplement these different sciences by studying informally in the haram in Medina or privately at scholars. With scholars.
Subhanallah. So that means there's a lot of opportunities of studying, whether it be formally through the university or in the halaqat that you find around the masjid, the haram. And also I think in Makkah there's also a halaqat that you would find with the shuyukh from different parts of the world, teaching Quran, qira'at, some teaching actually hadith, and some go into the tafsir also of Quran. Subhanallah. Now, in terms of your studies, according to your personal capacity in terms of what you've studied, which courses do you think that most people or learners here in South Africa will be interested in when going or getting enrolled in the University of in Madinah, inshallah?
Look, all of it is personal preference for a person, but the most popular faculty is a faculty of Sharia, and those who are interested in Quran and its recitation, obviously they have to be a hafiz of Quran. Some of them enter the faculty of Quran. All the faculties have Quran, where you have to memorize in each semester a certain portion, and thereafter recite it from memory to the teachers, and you test it. But if you enter the faculty of Quran, you must be a hafiz before you enter, and you will be tested on your Quran. And there is a criterion of how many mistakes you're allowed in the test, or if you don't pass that test, then you're not accepted into the faculty, or you need to redo the test, give it some time, and do some of your revision muraja'a, and thereafter enter again. So it's dependent on a person. But like I said, the most popular faculty is the faculty of Sharia, and I would think after that the faculty of Da'wah and Usuluddin. However, like we said, Medina has many options that a person can take in terms of informal study outside the university as well.
So also in speaking about the informal ways of studying, I see Ustad also has riwayah, ijaza in the riwayah of Hafs and Asim, and that also came through the halaqat in the masjid also?
Yes. Look, I can give you a brief overview of what Medina has in terms of its characteristics and what a person has available at their disposal. Firstly, Al-Madinah al-Munawwara, like we said, all people, their hearts yearn to go to Medina. And Medina, the benefit of being in Medina is clear from the ahadith of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, where the benefit is in the multitude of, for example, in your ibadah in Masjid al-Nabawi, being in the city of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Over and above that, from the hadith of Abu Hurairah, where Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that whoever comes to this masjid of mine for goodness, to teach or to learn, then he is in the status of the mujahid in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in terms of its preference and its fada'il, Medina has its fada'il. However, in terms of its academia, it's also different from any other place. And I say this, and I know this because of my interaction with students from all over. For example, I find myself a student from South Africa. However, in my time in Medina al-Munawwara, and there is not specific to me, it is for all students, they encounter a similar process. I lived with a Yemeni student, I lived with a Sudanese student, I lived with a Dagestani students, I lived with Moroccans, and those are people I lived with in close quarters, in the same dormitory, in the same room. So I benefited from them. However, my neighbors in my dormitory were from Libya and Lebanon and from Algeria and from India and Pakistan and Mauritania and Morocco and all over Egypt. So that interaction that a person gets in terms of being acquainted with all of these Muslims from all over the world, you can't find anywhere else. And Muslims who are from non-Muslim countries as well, like South Africa, or being from America or anywhere in Europe or the Far East or whatever it may be. So a person gets accustomed to all of these different cultures and different people in one place. What is the advantage of that? Is that when a person comes to Medina, because there's this plethora of students from all over the world, a person finds that each student has studied Islam prior to coming, or many of them, especially from the Arab world or the Muslim world at large, whether it may be also from the Indo-Pak or from the African countries who are non-Arab, and they have studied previously in their own countries. So when they come, they already are acquainted with lots of sciences before they come. So if a person, for example, were to come to Medina, the students you would find would be from everywhere. The scholars that have come to Medina are from all over the world. No matter any country you name, you'll find scholars from those countries at your disposal in the Haram, teaching formally or informally, outside the Haram as well. And there is the same for Mecca or other cities in the kingdom like Riyadh or Jeddah. But Medina has a concentration of scholars from all over. So you'll find scholars from Syria, lots of them, from Iraq, from Egypt, from Mauritania, from Morocco, from Yemen. All of them have come to Medina. Hence, if a person, for example, would want to study a madhab, for example, let's say somebody wants to study the Hanafi madhab, the general place somebody would go would be to the Indo-Pak, where there's a concentration of the Hanafi school of fiqh, or maybe to certain places in Syria like Halab or Turkey, or maybe even Egypt. However, if you come to Medina, you'll find the Hanafi madhab and you'll find scholars from all of these places gathered in Medina. And the same is for the Maliki madhab. If somebody were to study the Maliki madhab, he would have to go to West Africa, either to Algeria or Morocco or Mauritania, or wherever it may be. But in Medina, you will find Moroccans and Algerians and Mauritanians and Libyans and Tunisians, scholars of high caliber, teaching the books that were taught in their countries. The same way you would find those teaching their books which were taught in the Indo-Pak, or somebody, the books which were taught in Egypt. Hence, this amount of academia from all over the world is gathered for you in one place. And the same can be said about qira'at and the chains of narrations, the ahadith and their chains of narrations. From all over the world, people have come. So a student has at his disposal academic excellence, which can be found nowhere else in the world in one place. That's in Medina. And Mecca is just a few hundred kilometers away, and a similar situation can be found in Mecca al-Mukarramah, but Medina al-Munawwara has a higher concentration of that. And the same can be said for the students. One of the outstanding factors of being in Medina is because you have this masjid, al-Masjid al-Nabawi, everything is concentrated around it. And you have students who have come from all over the world, gathering in one place to study. It creates an environment which is conducive to academics and conducive to study and hard work. Hence, I found myself, walillahi alhamd, in an environment where I went to the Haram and I found certain people teaching qira'at, and I benefited even though my specialty was not in qira'at. And I read to many different qurra, and I had attained the ijaza, and thereafter benefited in tajweed. I studied Arabic language outside, and it's not specific to me. It is available at every single student's disposal under scholars from all over the world. In fact, some of the students, I would find myself in the afternoons, I had a friend of mine who was from Mauritania, very skilled in the Arabic language, in grammar and morphology and rhetoric and the sciences of literature and all of the sciences of the Arabic language, which are numerous. And I would find myself visiting him after the afternoon siesta before Asr, before we'd go to the Haram. where I would recite poetry from Al-Mufaddaliyat of Al-Dabbi, or read to him some literature, Suwar min Hayat al-Sahaba or Ayyam al-Arab, or something, while he would be making tea. Now that type of interaction is between students. Even though it's a social interaction, learning occurs in that environment, because I was going there to learn, and he was teaching me while making a cup of tea that we would spend half an hour, 45 minutes over, and that would be a daily process. And the same is said for everybody else. I found myself at a certain time living with Moroccans towards the end of my studies, and at that point there I benefited from them, because they would bring literature from Morocco, books which were printed in Morocco or in West Africa. The Mauritanians would bring books from there. So you get literature which is not available anywhere else in the world except in Medina, because students bring it from outside. Old literature, speaking about scholars which are of high status but are not known all over the world, only known to certain people within their countries or their regions. Now you get to know them because you find yourself in the presence of somebody who's traveled thousands of miles or thousands of kilometers, and you have him at your disposal. So the same thing can be said for this environment is created for everybody. And a person wants to learn the Arabic language because he finds himself in a city where the native tongue is Arabic, and all people or all students from all over have come to learn the language. You are only allowed to converse in this language, hence you pick up the language much easier. And from my experience, I've experienced this, and what I was saying is that the benefit is that because of this academic environment, because of what you have at your disposal in terms of scholars, because of what you have at your disposal in terms of Arabic literature, it comes from all over the world, and the culture of reading. A person may find himself in bookshops in Medina purchasing books and literature and content which is from all over the world, which is printed for the different sciences. And a person now acquaints himself with many different pathways. Hence, sometimes when a person may study in a certain region and get accustomed to their way, you would think that everybody else is wrong. However, in Al-Madinah Al-Munawwara, because you have this plethora and this variety, you start seeing that there are differences, but all of it goes back to Islam and to the Sunnah, whether it be in fiqh, whether it be in aqidah, whether it be in the Arabic language and the different methodologies to study the language, whether it may be in hadith and those scholars who have collected hadith. So it lets you know that there are scholars all over the world, but you need to find the right scholar. And the same can be said about the interaction between students. I found myself, alhamdulillah, at the time, in my leisure time in the evenings before bed or after supper, I would find myself with my roommates where we would daily, religiously select a book and begin reading it. And alhamdulillah, I've read many volumes of books, but I began with Riyadh al-Salihin, where I read it because I was a non-native speaker living with native speakers, and I would be the one reciting. And when I would get stuck, I would ask them, what does this word mean? What does it mean? This hadith, I did not understand it. And because they are in different faculties as well, they had more information about the hadith. Some of my roommates were in the faculty of hadith and another in the faculty of Quran. So that interaction allowed me and other students the same to develop. And the same can be said for them when it came to fiqh. If we discuss the topic and I was more acquainted with the madhaib and what were the opinions and the proofs used by the scholars and the usul that they went back to, and whatever it may be in terms of that, we aided each other. And this discussion is daily because students live together. And I think this is unique to Al-Madinah Al-Munawwara, where it happens in this way, because you find this difference in terms of culture, in terms of where people came from, in terms of the specialities that they're studying. And the same can be said at the time of travel. And this is for all students, like I said. Many a book were read when we would be traveling from Makkah to from Medina to Makkah, or from Medina to any place on journey, and the driver would listen while the passengers would be reading out aloud. And many a book in that manner were completed. Like I said, over a cup of tea that would happen every day for myself and other students as well. I completed books in poetry, reading to a student who was skilled in the Arabic language, or books in Arabic literature. And like that, a person learns, and even a social event becomes something which is a learning curve. The same can be said with sitting with Arabs of the Gulf, the Saudis, Saudi Arabian Arabs, or the Kuwaitis, or the Emiratis, those who have a leaning towards tribal understanding and lineage. So when sitting in their presence, you learn their poetry that was memorized generation after generation, and you learn about the different tribes and about lineage and where it goes back. And they're mentioned in the time of Rasulullah. So all of this links up to your knowledge base that you have, which you can't find anywhere else, to be honest, in this amount of, or in this concentration rather. You may find it duplicating in certain places, but in this variety, in this concentration, it's not available at this level anywhere else in the world. And that's one of the major benefits of studying in Al-Madinah Al-Munawwara, that you have at your disposal what can only be found if you were to travel many countries or to travel to many parts of the world. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it easy in one place. At one time, a person can benefit if he takes the initiative to do so.
Subhanallah, mashallah. No, that is, subhanallah, like when you're speaking, Ustad, just giving us that vision of it, it's like you can actually see the whole concept happening in front of you. And I think that's one of the things that we really need to learn, besides only in terms of deen, but also learning people's cultures and ways so that it can open up doors, like especially our main topic here, which is dawah. I think that's one of the way also we can get to learn people and try and converse with them. Now after studying, you came back to South Africa. What prompted you now to focus on the teaching of Arabic as a language, inshallah?
Just to touch on your previous point before I answer your question, when you spoke about da'wah, the other benefit is because there are students from all over the world. When you return back to your own country, you at your disposal, you have context all over the world. So alhamdulillah, whoever I was in touch with, whether it be from Yemen or Morocco or from Egypt or from West Africa or from Burkina Faso or from Europe, wherever it may be, alhamdulillah, I have friends in over 30 countries, friends who are my personal friends, and I have acquaintances in over 30 countries. So I have friends from 30 countries and acquaintances from even more than that. People I know, but they may not be considered friends, they're just acquaintances. So this network that a person can form at the time of studying is also something that is only achievable in a place where people gather to study in one single place. And Medina al-Munawwara is that place. The similar situation can be said about Mecca, but like I said, the concentration of these various nationalities can only be found in Medina al-Munawwara. As for what occurred after I returned from study in the year 2019, in the beginning, in February, after I'd completed my paperwork. And I was initially thinking of furthering my studies in Mauritania. However, due to certain constraints at home, I decided to remain in South Africa. I took a few months to ponder about what to do before I came back. However, what pushed me into the direction of teaching the Arabic language was a group of people within my own city, a group of women specifically, and certain other instruments, people who encouraged me to do this and supported me financially and morally and other ways, where I began now teaching the Arabic language informally. So I had a group of women that I would teach in a center that was available, a center that was for da'wah, known as Al-Islah Center. I shared classrooms with them, or I took permission to use their classrooms. And I began teaching students the Arabic language through notes that I had made myself, and I was teaching through those notes. And when COVID came about, it caused us to shut down. We had to close it down, and the contact sessions ended. And this then, from this was born an online class, and this became therefore after national and then international. So alhamdulillah, Islam Without Borders teaches Arabic language, and it's not only on a level which is local, it's national and international. So there are students from America and the UK. We've had students from other parts of Europe, the Netherlands, students from South America as well, who have come and learned the Arabic language, students from other countries in Africa, and the main concentration of students, or the largest number, are from within South Africa, but the variety does exist of students from all over the world. So Arabic language is the main focus that we began with. And thereafter, in the past 4 months or so, it's been 4 months now, where we've added in other sciences that we've been teaching. So we have a weekly class called Light Upon Light, where we teach on Mondays tafsir, on Wednesdays hadith, and on Fridays seerah. And the Arabic is also a weekly, 3 times a week. There are different semesters and different stages, and inshallah a brand new class will be beginning this November with the initial books, and thereafter in January with the main syllabus, inshallah. So that's what Islam Without Borders does at the moment. There are other teachers besides myself who teach the Arabic language for the advanced students, Arab teachers from Morocco. And there are courses that were done previously and are recorded and available to view on islamwithoutborders.co.za. There's a course on the history of Palestine in 16 lectures, certain courses on the methodology of learning the Arabic language, other courses as well, short courses, which we've covered certain topics. So all of that is available for people to view and to watch, as well as on our YouTube channel, Islam Without Borders. So all of that is available for the disposal of people that they can view and learn from that content which is available, which was recorded previously. And inshallah, in the future, we're going to be adding more content, some of it on the fiqh of salah, on inheritance, on the methodology of calculating zakat. Inshallah, we'll do it in due time.
Inshallah. So before we go forth, Ustad, I think we can just take a quick break, and when we come back, inshallah, we'll go deeper into the discussion of how people can actually get in touch with Islam Without Borders and other programs also that people might be interested in that Islam Without Borders is busy with, inshallah ta'ala. So let's take a quick break, inshallah, and when we return, we'll be concluding with our discussion, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Listen to something fresh. Listen to Salam Media.
Education, health, dignity, empowerment. These wishes all begin with water. Africa Muslims Agency is committed to providing clean water to the thousands who still live without this basic human right. Support us in giving the best of charities. Provide a water well for 14,800 Rand or a borehole for 49,500 Rand in Afghanistan or 55,000 Rand in Africa. Gain Thawabi Jariyah and help communities to reach their full potential. Africa Muslims Agency, empowering, educating, inspiring.
You know, it's a wonder how kids get anything done these days. With all the distractions, when do they even get time to study? As a mother, all I can really do is make sure they have all they need to perform at their best. That's why I choose to include Sunfoil, triple refined pure sunflower oil with every meal I make. Naturally cholesterol-free and approved by the Heart and Stroke Foundation as part of a balanced eating plan. So whether I'm cooking, frying or baking, I know every dish will be a wholesome one. Sunfoil, now we're cooking.
When the perfect blend of stylish decor, exquisite halal cuisine, and warm hospitality come together, it could only mean Al Bayt Lodge, your true home away from home. Al Bayt is the ideal heaven for families, business people, and tourists with its 4-star family rooms and other luxurious facilities, conveniently situated close to Port Elizabeth Airport, the beach, and other amenities. Your stay will be truly unforgettable, as you'll be taking home lasting memories of the warm hospitality, the serenity and tranquility that Al Bayt has to offer. For reservations, call 041 583 6415 or visit www.albaytlodge.co.za. Are you ready to ignite a wave of compassion and make a lasting impact? This Rabi'ul Awal, let's come together for something truly meaningful. Join Penny Appeal South Africa's Rabi'ul Awal campaign. Build a water well, provide a hot meal, sponsor a food garden, or plant an olive tree in Palestine or fruit tree in South Africa. Make a difference today. Visit our website www.pennyappeal.org.za or call 031 1100 573. Your giving, their dawn of hope.
Listen to something fresh. Listen to Salam Media.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Welcome back to the show. If you missed that first segment, you just missed out a very informative segment regarding studying in Medina, specifically in the Islamic University of Medina and other benefits of studying therein. With me is Sheikh Muhammad Kalla, and now we will be going deeper into the Islam Without Border and trying to understand what is it for and what the whole concept of learning. Well, Sheikh Sab told us about how it started with the teaching of Arabic, and due to COVID, which kind of became an impediment, then they had to move on to the online platform, which again, Ustad, I mentioned earlier on that the online platform is a go-to for everyone these days, as we are facing a lot of can call it discrepancies or whatever, but the movements which are there to just cause a lot of disruption in our communities. And it looks that our Arabic, alhamdulillah, the platforms, alhamdulillah, are allowing our kids to learn more about deen on a very safe space. Now, inshallah, the next question that came up basically was more interest on the methodology of teaching the Arabic language through Islam Without Borders. If you can take us through that, inshallah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. As for the Arabic language, the methodologies which are available to teach Arabic are 3. People call it Quranic Arabic, but this methodology is something which is not sound. There's no such thing as Quranic Arabic. Arabic is one language. The other two famous methodologies, one is what they call the methodical approach, which is used mostly in non-Arab countries, the Indo-Pak or Turkey, or lands which are not Arab lands. And the second methodology is what they call the skill-based approach. So the first one, which is the method-based approach, is where a student is introduced to the methodology of sciences of grammar and morphology, meaning the construct of the language. How is the language constructed? How is it methodically put together? How are the words attached to each other? Ilmu nahu, ilmu sarf, ilmu tarkib, all of that. The second method is what they call the skill-based approach. And the syllabi which are available in the Arab world and in the non-Arab world, taught in formal and informal institutes like Al-Arabiya to Bayna Yadayk, Nashi'in, Madinah syllabus, which is by Dr. Fa Abdul Rahim, who is of Indian origin, many other syllabi which are taught all over the Arab world. These syllabi concentrate on what you call a skill-based approach, meaning a student is to learn the Arabic language through developing skills which a child would develop when learning a language naturally. The skills are expression, at-ta'bir, qira'ah, reading, istima', listening, and kitaba, writing. These four skills. Now, this skill-based approach works very well when a person is immersed in an environment of Arabic, because they're listening to somebody speak Arabic all the time in terms of their method of dictation, where they be taught. They're listening to somebody speak Arabic when they jump in a taxi, when they go to town, when they go purchase something. They are taught in that manner, and they are exposed to it. They're reading a billboard in Arabic. They're forced to write in Arabic, so they're exposed to it, and they're in the environment which supports the skill-based approach. So they learn like a child. Right. The method approach, the problem with it is that when a person only learns methodical understanding of construct of language, he is unable to apply what he knows naturally. And I found, alhamdulillah, when I was there, that students who were exposed to a methodical approach, they had some understanding of the structure of the language, and then were forced to adopt the skill-based approach and were able to leave that methodology approach out, meaning they were able to ignore this constant need to be able to understand the way something works. With having a certain amount of understanding to begin with, they advance much faster. Hence, when I began teaching the Arabic language, I merged these two approaches together, where I looked at a different method of teaching grammar, not the general method which is found in the grammar books. I rearranged the lessons, meaning, and I only incorporated that amount of grammar and morphology which was necessary for a person to develop a structure in the mind without going into details of the grammar and intricacies. Hence, allowing a person to have a structure of the language. Over 28 hours, I teach the book, alhamdulillah, that I've written and has been published now, and is available on the Islam Without Borders website. You can see it there, and there's a course there that's also pre-recorded of the book. And thereafter, we jump straight into the skill-based approach. So a person now goes into the Madinah syllabus, which is a syllabus I prefer, and I teach the syllabus in a manner where I don't necessarily teach it in the exact way it's taught in the Arabic environment. I merge the two approaches. So a student will be forced to speak, will be forced to converse, will be forced to listen in the Arabic language, will be forced to develop those skills by force. However, at the same time, they'll be aided from time to time by saying, look at this, analyze it, look at what you know in grammar. Can you fit it into the structure? Now multiply what you know in terms of duplicating it for different scenarios. And that's the way I teach it. And alhamdulillah, within the first year, we see results. Already at the end of the first year, students are addressed in the Arabic language. They're asked to address the teacher in the Arabic language, and they converse up to about 80 or 90% of the class would be done in Arabic. By the end of the third year, when the student completes, within that 6 months before they complete, there is no interaction in English. The interaction is completely in Arabic. The sciences are taught in Arabic, whether they're doing hadith, whether they're doing tafsir, whether they're doing the Arabic books in terms of the books which support expression or qira'ah, reading, or the books which are teaching the methodology of the language. All of it is done in Arabic. And thereafter, they are also taught by Arab speakers or Arab natives who don't know any English. So there is the method, and alhamdulillah, over the past 3 years, from 2020 up until the end of last year, in those 3 years, we saw our first batch completed over 3 years of students, and we saw success. Walillah, alhamdulillah, we tweaked it here and there for the classes which came after that, and we've seen even more success and progress with the classes which are currently busy. But we have students, alhamdulillah, who are currently now studying hadith and tafsir and different sciences within the Arabic language and are being taught by lecturers who are Arabs. So there's no interaction within the English language. They're learning tafsir in Arabic, hadith in Arabic, aqidah in Arabic, all the sciences in Arabic. They're reading in Arabic, they're writing in Arabic, they're conversing in Arabic, they're listening in Arabic. So alhamdulillah, the success is there. So that's how the Arabic works. And inshallah, this coming November, there'll be a 30-day intensive course that we'll be beginning with. And inshallah, if you follow me on Instagram, or follow Islam Without Borders rather on Instagram and on Facebook and YouTube, you'll find the announcement for that, inshallah, for the course that will be coming about. Intensive course that covers the introductory book before a person goes into the skill-based approach. And thereafter, in January, we'll be beginning with the Madinah syllabus. But the prerequisite is that a person completes the introductory course. There is also a pre-recorded course which is available on the website. At the moment, if a person doesn't have the time for entering that intensive course and wants to do it over the next 3 months before January, it's available there under islamwithoutborders.co.za/Arabic. So that's the way the Arabic is taught. The books are made available, textbooks are sent to students all over the world. Anywhere a student can register and a textbook will be sent to them. And even if they attend the live class or they miss it, the recordings are made available, because once a student registers, a profile is created on the website, and they have access to the content, they have access to the recordings, the video recordings, they have access to the literature, what may have been written in class on the whiteboard. All of it is posted on a profile. So your profile is specific to you. If you pause a video at a certain point, you can come back and watch it. If you access something or download it, it will tell you to download it. So all of it is at your disposal. If you answered a certain amount of quizzes, it will give you your results, and it will keep tracking you as you move along in your process of learning. That's for the Arabic, alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah, no, subhanAllah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it a sense of us actually getting to understand more the Lughatul Quran, the language of the Quran, the language of our Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Because, every time you speak to people in terms of their interest in studying Arabic, the first thing they will say is that I want to learn Arabic in order to understand the Quran. Some were even crying, all the uncles that look, you stand behind the Imam in Salah, but you can't even understand what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying in the Quran. So through this, inshallah, we really pray and hope that many people will enroll and actually take the courses and learn, so that inshallah that intention will be fulfilled. Now, one of the points that you mentioned before in terms of what Islam Without Borders offers, you mentioned the Light Upon Light class. Now, if you can just take us more into that, and what does it exactly cover for the people, inshallah?
Okay, so Light Upon Light is an initiative that we've taken of a live set of classes, which are live on a weekly basis. It's a weekly class, 3 subjects. On Monday, Tafsir, on Wednesday, Hadith, and on Friday, Sirah. Starting from Adam alayhi salam till where we have come in today's time. This live initiative happens on Monday mornings, Wednesday mornings, and Friday mornings at 11:30 for an hour, where we cover different books. And a person can attend live. It's not something where somebody needs to take notes, but rather to listen and culture themselves. It's an academic class. It's something that a person will not find in terms of your general lecture. And these classes, a person can listen to whichever science he's interested in or all. And if they miss them, like we said, the video recordings are available for lifetime on a person's profile. They can listen to them at any time. So we have students who listen, some women who are cooking in the morning in the kitchens, or some of them are driving, or whatever it may be, or listens to them later on when driving back from work. But the way that the class is structured is as follows. There's a lecture that occurs for an hour or 45 minutes. And thereafter, the floor is open for questions. The student has access to a tutor online on WhatsApp in a group where they can ask questions if they have any questions. And the method that we're using, like I said, is academic. So for tafsir, the tafsir is done of those verses or those sections which begin with Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you who believe, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls out to the believers. And these verses are pertinent to a believer because Allah is calling out to you either with a command or a prohibition. So all those 89 sections in the Quran which begin with Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu are covered. And at the moment, alhamdulillah, we've reached up until 26. But we're still continuing. It's a live initiative. If a person joins, they can join for free. They can come and enter the class. They can watch the previous videos or continue from where we've gone on. The tafsir that we are relying upon is a tafsir of Imam al-Qurtubi, Al-Jami' li Ahkam al-Quran. It's a tafsir which is not available in the English language. It's a major tafsir and a very vast tafsir. And like I said, the method is academic. So we make available to students at their disposal information which is not easily found in any English lecture. It's not information which is just something which is a admonition or warning or something for entertainment, but rather information which a person can take. And even the technicalities, we explain them, we go into them. If there's something in Usul al-Fiqh, we may explain the concept and show a person how it now multiplies in other facets of Islam. The same thing can be said for Hadith. The book that we're doing is the 40 Hadith which were compiled by Imam al-Nawawi. May Allah have mercy on him. And the commentary that we rely upon are two. The commentary of Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali, and the second commentary is a commentary of Al-Mulla Ali Qari. And those commentaries are summarized and presented to a student in terms of what was said about the hadith academically. And thereafter, the last 15 minutes of each class or 10 minutes is to draw it into our lifestyle. The admonition, the warning, what we can benefit, how we can implement it. Obviously, that's the crux, the fruits of the issue. However, the academic side is something which is not covered usually by most speakers or most topics or even most series. And the same thing can be said about Sirah. We cover the Sirah from Al-Bidayah and Nihaya in detail and incorporate other versions which are available in Al-Tabari's book and other historians have mentioned. And if there are problematic issues which come about with the contradictions between the Jews and the Christians and the Muslims, we look to solve those and see what was said about it, the benefits that can be drawn, daily benefits, for example, which are given in terms of what people face now where the Quran is being attacked. For example, when you speak about verses you speak about business. Ya ayyuhalladhina ayatul mudayana, for example. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu idha tadayantum bidayn, that ayah. Where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about a witness of one man and two women or two men. Why does Allah say two men or a man and two women? Is one man equal to two women or do two women equal to a man? We address these issues and explain about what is meant in the Sharia, how it can be understood. Other positions or places in the Sharia where women were given preference over men, to show that there is no contradiction where men are favored over women in terms of men are given privilege and women don't have their own privilege. Rather, we show where the Sharia has not equality, but rather equality of justice, where each one is given their right based on being just, where a man has certain characteristics which are for him and a woman certain characteristics which are for her. So all of these issues, whether it be this issue here specifically or other issues which plague us in today's world, are addressed in the context of those ayat. So we're looking at a different approach in the way we do things. Alhamdulillah, in that class to date, we have over 80 students. It's been 4 months and it's grown to about 80 students. Walillah alhamd. And it's a good response, a positive feedback. We have questions that come about, and alhamdulillah, we answer them if we are able to. If we're not able to, we consult those who are more skilled in the affair and give our students answers which are satisfactory and help them. So that's our objective, not to replicate any work where we do against Sirah or Hadith or Tafsir, but rather to create something new, something academic in the English language, which is only sometimes available in the Arabic language. But now we're trying to give something which is properly academic for somebody who doesn't want to study formally. So if somebody is studying formally as a Darul Ulum or doing a degree somewhere or studying a course formally, this is something else. It's informal, but at the same time academic, where you will hear things and learn things which you wouldn't find anywhere else if you were not studying formally. So that's what the Light Upon Light is. It can be found on islamwithoutborders.co.za/light. A student can register there. It's a monthly course, it's a weekly course rather, and it runs month to month. And there's breaks in between when it comes to holidays and things like that. And like I said, the recordings are available for students to watch at their leisure at any time. They can repeat recordings, watch it live, attend live, whatever it may be, but it's at your disposal to do with it as you please.
MashaAllah, tabarakallah. Ustad, it's really an amazing concept that has been built, and we really hope that many people will actually take more benefit of it, because it's really hard nowadays actually to keep up with courses that can reignite us or connect us back to our deen. But like this, inshallah, a lot of people will benefit from it, and really pray that it reaches far and wide, inshallah ta'ala. And once again, jazakumullah khaira for attending and being with us tonight. It was really an enlightening program whereby we learned a lot, and sparking also our interest in studying further and being proficient with our Arabic also, inshallah ta'ala. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it a means of hidayah and bring people closer to the deen of Allah, and as most importantly, for people to learn the Arabic language to understand the beautiful kalamullah, inshallah ta'ala. Jazakumullah khaira, ahsan al-jaza. Really hope and pray, inshallah, we'll have you again on our show in the near future, inshallah ta'ala.
Inshallah. Jazakallah. It was an honor to be with you.
شكرا. جزاكم الله خير. أحسن الجزاء. السلام
Assalamu
عليكم
alaikum.
ورحمة الله. Alhamdulillah, that brings us to the end of our show tonight. Subhanallah. If you want more information, you can go on Islam Without Borders. I think it's .co.za, or you can follow them on Instagram, also Islam Without Borders, and also they have a page on Facebook. So there's a lot of ways that we can actually get back into learning more about our deen, sparking that beautiful interest of Arabic, learning a hadith, subhanallah, the seerah of Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or including the whole Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam. So there's no excuse of not attaining knowledge today, and this is where it starts, by actually pushing that spark of interest and mobilizing it into learning more, inshallah ta'ala. Again, it is a beautiful Thursday evening, a reminder to read immense or excessive durood upon Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een, and see you next time, Thursday night from 8 p.m. until 9 p.m. from the Salam Media Studios. Call to Guidance with your host Yunus Kawanga, and Jazakumullah khaira, most importantly, to our main man, our studio operator Sadiq, and signing out from Salam Media. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.